Okay, here we go. Strixhaven draft. Let's look at this. Let's see what I did. So, right off the bat, we have one of the Deans. The Deans are great, super versatile. Even if you can't play one side, like if you don't want to commit to blue-green, in this case, like most single sides of all the Deans are playable regardless, so you're not committing to the colors. Otherwise, Village Rites is decent. Academic Dispute is a good way just to like get lessons. Honor Troll is great in the life gain deck. Eureka Moment's good. Pop Quiz is good. Like there's a lot of strong stuff in this pack, but the Dean is just so powerful, both sides. The Green Dean making a butt ton of creatures, and then the Blue Dean just being super powerful card draw. An important thing with the blue side of the Dean, the blue side of the Dean says you paid like 2 blue and X, and then you exile that many cards with study counters on them, put one in your hand. Then after that, you don't have to necessarily keep paying the X. You can just pay the 2 blue or whatever, and then you won't exile extra cards, but you get to grab one of the cards you've already exiled if your library is running low, which is relevant in draft situations for sure. So here, Master Symmetrist is an amazing card, very aggressively costed. It has reach, which is super relevant. Otherwise here, there's the Needlethorn Drake. Pest Summoning is a great lesson. It usually comes a little bit later than I think it should, considering what it is. Another Pop Quiz. Lash is good. Enthusiast Study is okay. So I think I found at least where there is good cards. The problem is there's so many good green, blue cards that someone else might find this pocket right next to me. So that is what we're thinking sometimes in drafting. The meta draft of like, maybe I do want to close out the black or the red in this pack. So while it might not be the most powerful card, my opponents next to me will say, oh, yeah, these colors are not open at all. Early on. Later on, if those colors are low, it's probably because people have grabbed them. But pack 2, if there aren't any black or red cards, it's because that pack just probably wasn't that stacked in that color. And then maybe your opponent to your right took one of those colors. We're thinking about. As we sit here and watch, I might have to speed this up. This is the one problem with drafting is you have to wait for your opponent, especially online. Okay, great. So here we have another sort of dual card, strategic planning, which is great. Witherbloom Pledge Mage is amazing. Professor, and then the really good lesson. What I like about the lessons is ideally if you can get the environmental one, this draw one, and then the one that exiles things. Then you have like if you don't have enough lands, you have a way to get it. If you have too many lands and you need a specific card, you have this Introduction to Prophecy. And if there's a troublesome permanent on the board, you have the Introduction to Annihilation. And then you're sort of set for almost any situation. Here, I think I go with the Torrent Sculptor. It's not as good. I thought I had Flying. It's not as good as you might think. Because it usually comes into play like maybe as a 4/4 with Ward. So it's aggressively costed, but like, brah. The Ward is okay. Not amazing. I guess I don't want to commit to a color yet, so I understand going the Pledge Mage just to say like, oh, you know what, I'm gonna stay in green right now, and then I might need to be able to go green black. So here there's the Honor Troll, which is great. There's the Eye Twitch, Lash of Malice is coming back, amazing, and then there's the Reckless. And then a little bit good red. But yeah, I'm managing to stay in green. It's important, your first pack, if you can, to try not to commit to all your colors because you don't know what sort of like bomb rare you're going to open pack 2. Pack 3, you might have to let a bomb rare go. But if you can stay open for pack 1, it can help. Here's the Introduction to Annihilation, which I like a lot. There's also the Springthorn. Yeah. I might grab that just to like, it's a life gain card. It's decent. It's in my color. I think I maybe should have gone for the Annihilation just as a hedge of like I'm probably grabbing less. So here, Overgrown Arch, 100%. I'm sort of like building this life gain deck, and the Honor Troll with the Overgrown Arch is such a good 2 into 3 drop of that like any aggressive deck you're probably gonna do okay against. Here, I need more small drops. So there's the Groth, but then there's also the Needle Drake and the Introduction. I'm going to go with the Groth. Am I? I don't have enough cheap things. What are you doing, William? No, I don't necessarily agree with that. Maybe I'm thinking that at this point I'm leaning towards the life gain, which is more of the black-green synergy. So I'm thinking I will get Pest to sacrifice later. Oh, a Symmetrist this late. While Infuse and Deadly Brew are both amazing, the Symmetrist is just so powerful. If you can get the Fractal lesson for your sideboard. You can make a big fractal that then has trample. You can block flyers. It's just so strong. The Symmetress is so strong. I like it a lot. So what do I need right now? I don't have any lessons at all, and I still don't technically know what my second color is going to be. So we're going to have to solve that for ourselves here. What I'm hoping for is those hunt the specimens. I need more cheap drops right now. Like, while I do have some life gain, if I play against a super aggressive deck, I could win before I have a chance to play my big things. Because one thing is, if you're on the other side of the spectrum, if you're playing a super aggressive deck with like creatures on turn 1 and 2, ideally your big drops are okay. So here, I think I want to take Village Rites. I take the Servant because I'm going like all life gain, but at this point, I don't think I'm gonna be playing all these Servants. I think it's too many. What do I grab? Yeah, I think it's the Drake because I need a hedge on 2 drops, early drops. I get my lesson back. That's great. It's a little bit later than I think it should come. And then I get Pop Quiz. Get a dual land that is sort of relevant. What was I saying? Oh, yeah. So if you're playing a super aggressive deck, ideally you have creatures on 1, 2, and 3, and then your late game spells, instead of being big fat creatures, hopefully are removal for big fat creatures. So, let's say I don't play anything really until my Master Symmetrist. You've gone 1 creature, 2 creature, 3 creature, and then while I've stalled the board, your then removal kills my big thing, and then you can tempo past me. So this is good. I have 10 playables and 1 good lesson in the first pack. Okay, here. Boop, 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 boop. Fervent Mastery, not the best for draft. Killian, absolutely amazing. Every time I see this card, it makes me go, uh-oh, if my opponent plays it. This is Emergent Sequence. It's a good 2-drop. It lets me play my Symmetrist earlier. Mage's Duel is also amazing. It's good removal in the fight, and then it's like basically like, green removal. Aerialist, meh. I do like Inkling as a lesson, but it's not going to work for this deck. Oh, technically if I go black, it could. And then Ingredient is decent. Square Up, I've yet to see Square Up ever played in draft. I've yet to see it be played, and I've played quite a few Strixhaven drafts at this point, so worth noting. It doesn't mean it's bad, it just means that the Apprentice is so good. It's a 2-drop in the colors that I want, and it provides so much value in the late game, especially if I go for the Fractal lesson. This gives you the card advantage to get enough lands where your Fractal is going to be game winning, assuming they can't remove it. But especially with the Symmetrist, game winning because it's trample. So if you even if you get to crack, usually with the big Fractal, they try to chump block, or the strategy for your opponent becomes like, oh, I'm just going to chump block this until I get my removal. But with the Symmetrist, that strategy is less viable. So we're waiting here. Oh boy, Crackle with power, absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. But I think it's between Opt and this Needlethorn, and I really do need 2-drops, and the Needlethorn is a very good one. There's also Cram Session, but yeah, I think Needlethorn's good because it's an early drop. It has evasion, so if your opponent isn't doing anything, it can chip them down. Here, yeah, I think it's Biomathematician. Burying the Books is also really good, but yeah, I think it's Biomathematician. So Needle Drake, it can chip your opponent down if they're not doing anything, and then it could also just trade for something early. Or yeah, Burying the Books is also good as sort of like removal, which I do need some of. Here, there's another Burying the Books, or there's this Needle Drake. I go Needle Drake because I just want cheap drops to get me up to the Symmetrist. And then late game, Needle Drake trades for anything without First Strike, really. So it's good early game to chip or to just like trade, or it's good to trade late game, or to chip and evade at the end to like give yourself a little bit of reach at the end. I love Needlethorn Drake, absolutely. This is a lot of the cards that I love in this set. Needlethorn Drake, the Master Symmetrist. Otherwise, man, to the rest of this deck. But those 2 cards, mwah. As we wait. I'm going to speed this up a bit because I am getting bored. So what are y'all doing? No! Playback, speed, faster. Great. And full speed ahead. Boop, boop, beep. So here, there's body of research, which is interesting because like it's a very specific, it's a 6-drop, and be like, well, we played on turn 6, but you're not always gonna play it on 6. You're not gonna have an even distribution all the time, and so, So here I'm tempted for like another honor troll, although I don't have. I mean, I have a decent amount of life gain, but I've sort of pivoted off that plan. There's the colony, which is good early and late, or there's this Eureka moment, which I don't have that many spells, so I might go Eureka's moment just because like. I want spells, but this honor troll, I honestly, yeah. The body of research, I don't necessarily want for this deck. Here, I think it's the golden ratio. Golden ratios, I like Eureka moment. I like not the Serpentine Curve in this deck. I don't have enough spells, but the golden ratios, yeah. I have a 0 power thing with Overgrown Arch. I have 1-drops with the Needle Drakes. I have 2 power things with the honor trolls. The Apprentice, etc., and like I have a bunch of varied. Here's definitely Snakeskin. Although seeing a whole pack full of black makes me be like, well, maybe I should have been in black. But I like this deck. I have powerful counterplay with the Snakeskin Veil. I have good card draw. Here, I think it's just either Duress or the Inkling Summoning. I go with that. So technically, if I want to splash black, for the green, that black-white land. Like, could be something that, like, provides me black and then also allows me to scry. But, once again, I don't think I'm playing it. Here, Biblioplex Assistant has actually grown on. Biblioplex, no, has not. I grab it, but I guess just for the rare. And then, yeah, Opt is good. Especially since I'm not really doing the teach thing. Yeah, Opt is great. What was I going to say? Biblioplex Assistant has grown on me a lot, especially with not lessons, but things that cause you to get lessons. Yeah, now it's between burying books and the land. I don't know if I'm playing how many burying the books I'm playing. So because I'm close to my full suite of like 23 playables, I just grab big play. I do like big play, but Eureka moment. Here, I could play the Titan. I was like, I could play this Titan. Or do I want to go simple with the Biomathematician? It's an interesting choice. There's not a lot for me. I don't like the Serpentine Curve. I don't have that many spells. So now I'm like, yeah, I'll grab it. Harness Infinity, so good, but like not in draft. It's by the time you get there, like you hopefully are in a winning position already. Like this Quandrix Apprentice, I'll be able to play hopefully a few spells, get some value out of it. In draft, if you can thin your deck out, here. I think it is just I do like the idea of winning with the Stadium, which the Stadium, when you tap it, it puts a counter on it. You get 10 counters on it. You win if your opponent deals damage to your opponent. You also put a counter on it. If your opponent's creatures deal damage to you, it's basically you take counters off of it. So it's like a game of like sport that you get. Yeah. But I like alternate win conditions. It's very rare in drafts that you get even access to alternate win conditions. So when you see it, like, woo, it makes you want to go, woo, but be careful. I think it's a win more card, because if you're in a losing position, your opponent's going to attack you and take things off. Okay, the Wrangler is good, but in this deck, it's a little weak, because, like, I don't have that many spells. The Ether Helix is an extra copy of my best card that I've already lost, and the balance can be relevant if they're doing things with counters. Eureka Moment's good. An extra Witherbloom Pledge would be good. So now I have to think about cards I'm getting rid of. Yeah, the Servines are already coming out. There's Hunt for Specimen, but at this point, yeah, I think burying the books is the way to go. I don't have a lot of lessons, so it's not like grabbing another mostly for the lesson card is going to help me. What else do I take out? No, don't take out Golden Ratio, William. What are you doing? Okay, here. Yeah, there's the Professor, but I mean, meh. I feel meh about the Professor. Honestly. Maybe I get rid of the Bayou Gross since I don't have that many pests. And it's just like a 5-drop. Yeah, I'm like, well, technically this Adventurous Impulse is kind of like a second copy of a land, and I have these Quandrix Apprentice. Get another Golden Ratio, so like I really am looking to diversify the power of things that I have. honestly, maybe get rid of this Daemogoth. Like, I don't have that many free creatures to sacrifice. Here, yeah, I could play the blue side of that in case I want to trade up with my my Overgrown Arch in late game, like sacrifice it for the lesson, have the two blue to make the 4/4 elemental. Yeah, now I'm just it's like this is the part of the draft where it's just like, okay, yeah, Eureka moment. Other than the Reckless Amphimancer is really good in like the super late game, but ideally you put +1/+1 counters on it or something. So what do I grab out of this deck? I think the Groth is going bye. Yep. The Deans are too good. Don't you dare, William. You need those. I think it's the Professor. One Eureka moment maybe, because I have the golden ratios to draw way more cards. Yeah, I'm going down to 16 land. My thought being, I have this Adventurous Impulse, which is kind of like lad number 17, and the Opt, and then I can always hopefully get, if I have a Quandrix Apprentice, make up for the fact that I'm down on lands. And here we go into the games. So what am I hoping to not play? I don't want to play anything too aggressive because my deck is sort of on long-term value. The Needle Drakes are hoping to stall out the opponent until I can draw a lot of my cards and lands. And then in the long game, I can make a bunch of fractals with the Green Dean. So here we go. Plan here is to... Depends on what they do. They do... Oh, wait, we're going to speed this up even a little bit more. Boop, 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 because I go 3x speed so that you guys get a full draft video in way less time than my competitors. So I play the Quandrix Apprentice. I'm hoping to get value by being able to play spell. So here the plan is, once I play this Dean, I want to just like 1 or 2 cards off of it with different mana values and then just start making fractals. So they have Zimone, which is very scary. She's very scary when you're not really pressuring. Obviously they have something. And I'm like, I don't want you to play your little stupid trick and me to lose out right now. So I will wait. I think I go... Oh, I do this to ramp and then to also get the free land with the Quandrix Apprentice. And because I was thinking the next turn I can Overgrown Arch and other Apprentice. Like, once again, I'm not pressuring them against their Zimone, but they're not really pressuring me either, right? So I'm okay. Here I'm like, do I trade? I don't. Well, I guess because these Needle Thorns are coming down. I get lands. Drake. Oh, no. Oh, Professor Zimone. Yeah, I agree with that because I can sneak the other 2-drops in as I need. And I'm okay with this situation. Yeah, they get to draw a card every turn with Zimone, but it takes their whole turn, and I'm really playing to the board here. So I think I might try to do the big Pledge Mage. Yeah. Attack. See what they have. Okay, I'm happy getting rid of the Drake. I agree with that. And then maybe play my other Apprentice to hopefully get a bunch of lands off of this Impulse. Yep. And once again, they're using their whole turn to draw cards. So they are, getting card advantage, but it's costing them a lot. And then I'm drawing like every card in my deck too, though, right? I'm drawing extra cards with the Quandrix. Now I'm like, I might be getting too many lands out of my deck, to be honest, if I'm being honest with everyone. I think I might stop here. Yeah, luckily I miss. I think that becomes relevant that I miss in a few games. And now once again, now I have, like, I don't care if you have a combat trick. I have such a better board state that, like, do your thing, opponent. I'm about to make 1,000 fractals. So they have a command, which rightly blows me out a little bit. But once again, I'm still in the commanding position on the board. even though they can draw two cards a turn with Zimone. Now I'm like, do I block? I'll chump block. I don't want to get blown out with another combat trick right now. So I chill. They play a very big creature. I like that the Zimone put a land out in response so that their leyline token's even bigger. And now I'm like, what do I do? Well, hey, not only do I have a Needlethorn Drake to deal with this 9/9, but I have the Daemogoth, which I really wish I hadn't sacrificed my my pest now. So I go, Pledge Mage, and I just pass. Why? Oh, because I want to make a free fractal is what it is. I need the 5 mana to make a fractal. I'm thinking, like, this game's going to go pretty long. I can go wide. Every turn I don't make a fractal, I'm sort of wasting a free card that it could have gotten. So I'm just chilling right now. I'm planning to go wide and fractal them to death. I can play both those spells and still play a fractal. So that's I'm balancing out just making fractals and then also playing impactful things on the board. And at this point, I'm thinking, like, one of us is going to draw out. Either I'm going to go wide and kill you, or one of us is going to draw their library out. Because, like, flyers, I have the Thorn Drakes, you have the Colony. Big things, like, I have this Daemogoth. So sure, needle all you want. I'm making fractals. Now I'm like, are they Zimoning? What are they going to do? So I bounce your token, and I'm thinking, like, I don't really care what I get back. I get back that Professor because I'm like, oh, I can then sacrifice the Pest to my Daemogoth. So yeah, whew. Great game. Here, this hand is great. Luckily, I play first, so I can set my hand up, get a 2-drop, and I have a perfect 2/3/4 curve. Like, you know, what else is there to? They play an early spell, and I'm like, uh-oh, let's see if they attack. Let's see if they could attack and bluff me, but also, like, they don't. So, hey, ha ho ho ho. I play this Honor Troll. I don't attack because they might not have attacked because they have the make a mark or whatever, and I want to get value off of this Apprentice before I use it. So because they can't attack me for too much, I'm just going for the ramping out the land, and I play the tap land now. And now next turn I can play the Overgrown Arch and have the Burying Books up. Or I can play the Overgrown Arch and the Golden Ratio and draw 2 cards. So I've taken it to the face. And now I'm thinking, like, you know what, I think I should bury in the books. Yeah, bury them in the books. It'll set them back, I'll get another land. People usually, like, people don't really see it coming as much as they should. So I can block your 3/3 and just, like, and I can do this. If you have a combat trick, I can bury in the book. So I am protected, I'm thinking, but I'm like, I don't want to risk it. These are my value creatures. And then I just, bye-bye. I get a land, and I set you back in tempo. So strong. Whew. Now, I don't have 2 mana up to sacrifice my Arch in case they did something else strong. So now I'm like, oh. They have a big thing. Do I want to play my Dean as a 3/3 first before I Golden Ratio? I'm debating, and I'm like, you know what? Yeah, yes I do. This is going to be sort of like a race. So I want as much stuff on the board as possible. Now I can gain 2 life with this Overgrown Arch and this Honor Troll now. So I really don't want to, you know, stack up against a Sloth block and be blown out. Especially because I'm about to play this Daemogoth, which is a lot harder to, you know, for them to +2/+2 first strike or whatever and blow me out. So I'm just going to Arch block, I think, and gain life. Right? Yeah, because I want the Honor Troll life. Waiting. Abraham is probably not long for this world, I'm guessing. And also the Abraham is yeah, exactly. Did not expect that to live that long. So here I can do so. Wait. Oh no, I had to spend that much green because you can't play blue first. Now great, I got a Daemogoth. The one issue with the Daemogoth is if you block and they use a combat trick to do something, you've already sacrificed a creature, so you can really blow yourself out that way. Okay. I'm chilling. I'm gaining 2 life. Once again, because I think I go bigger over the top than them, the fact that I'm gaining now life, you know, because they're basically throwing out tempo and card advantage. They're throwing away card advantage to get tempo and specifically life advantage, and I'm taking away their life advantage. So I get my Dean back. I get some lands. I'm chilling. And hey, you know what? How about attack you for 11? No? Yes? Jump block. So I traded my 2/2 for the 1/1, but I'm imagining they have spells that remove things from their graveyard. They expel, and then once again, yeah, I've basically, luckily I got a chump block out of it, but, you know, that's the sort of risk you play when you play with the Daemogoth. I can still gain 2 life. Now I'm like, you know what? I want to make a butt ton of fractals. I want to make all fractal rock. Let's do this. And I can attack with my 4/4 and my 1/1, especially because I have another Needle Drake in the hand. I don't care too much if they block. They could have another combat trick of some sort. They block. We trade. They come out ahead. Okay, yeah, they have the Sun Breakthrough. I'm glad, once again, now I'm glad that I didn't block the Relic Sloth. I would have been completely blown out, and that is why I didn't do that. They do that. I'm like, okay, yeah, sure. I'm glad to kill your thing that can ping me, and I'm just gaining life. I'm just chilling, gaining life. I'm planning to Dean it up. So the problem is I really don't want to land with that, and luckily I did not get a land. So now I can chill. I can make 2 creatures a turn, which, yeah, they may be small, but they're gonna do things. So yep, that's dangerous if they can. Yeah, I'm just like, okay, yeah, let's do this. Great. Now you only have your 2/4 against probably like my life gaining combo, and then so many fractals it's not even funny. So at the time I thought it was you needed different colors instead of different mana values for the Dean. It's different mana values. And I'm just trying to make my fractals bigger. My fractals are bigger. I'm making 2/2s every turn. Attack. So they block. Remember, I can gain life in response and make it a 4/4. So that's what I do. They don't see it. Yep. Remember, situations change in Magic. So really, if your opponent has things that they can do, make sure the situation's not going to change. You know, they were making the assumption it's going to stay at 2/3, but I have things I could do to change that. And so while it's a 2/3 now, it's not going to be necessarily 2/3 when you've finished blocking. So here, great hand. I have a 2-drop, a 3-drop, a 4-drop. I have a little bit of protection in the bury in the books. Oh, they Killian, and I'm like, you're Killian me. Relic Golem. So immediately I'm like, they're about to do some absolutely broken stuff to me. I just know it. They humiliate me, and now I'm like, oh, I am definitely poop. I think this is the game I lose. I can see this being the game I lose. I like have to block their golem. I really want to get rid of this Killian, so I'm like, okay, let's do this. Now I have a 4/4. What do you doing now? And they play like the yeah. They play like the coolest thing that they can play. And now I'm like, yeah, I'll get rid of your Killian. I think this is definitely the game I lose. Yep. Just, you know, great. Once again, that's what I was saying in the draft portion where I'm like, anytime I see Killian, I'm just thinking like, I am dead. Early game Killian. Killian on turn like 12, it's whatever most times. But Killian turn 2, ooh, bad things happen. So here we go. This is a fine hand. I have 2 Quandrix Apprentices, so even if I miss a land drop on 3, hopefully I can apprentice, bury in the books on the turn after that, and then find lands. They play boots. I'm like, okay, whatever. I'll deal damage to you. I find my land, which is good for me. I'm not too worried right now. They play Eliminate once again. So I play the 3-drop because like if I draw a land, I can go both Apprentice and Arch. And that is maybe what I do, or do I Symmetrist? I attack first, see what they do. It's a bluff attack, but they don't know that. And they still block. How? What? Tis tis, opponent. Tis tis. So I have the Symmetrist to block their 2/3 if they go for it. Great. And now I'm like, I think I'm going to Apprentice, then I'm going to sequence so that I can get some lands. I don't get a land. How unlucky. I go for the blue. I should have gone for the green because of the Daemogoth specifically. Like, if I went for green, I can cast anything in my deck. I went for the blue, and now I cannot. So they're not attacking yet. So I'm like, do I set myself up? Yeah, I'm going to set myself to gain a little bit more life. I still have this Arch. They're hunting for Specimen. Their Specimens are bigger because of their Blex. If they get rid of their Brackish Trudge. Luckily, I have my 5/5 to block their Trudge. Otherwise, they could sort of like almost free attack with it, knowing that eventually this Pest will die and they could get it back. So I'm just chilling. They didn't equip their boots, so I'm like, oh, they definitely have some sort of spell. Yep. That would have been, well, they would have had to pay the mana to get the Trudge back. So they couldn't have gotten the Trudge back then if they needed to. So now this Blood Researcher is definitely threatening. I don't like Blood Researcher is so I mean, I have the Burying Books to reset it. So I think I'm going to go maybe the Dean and then the Drake. Do I go Dean Drake? No, I want to be able to play land. So I get rid of your flyer. Oh, I don't have the. I just attack because they all have trample and they're big. Gotcha. That makes sense. Yeah, because I'm dealing so much damage. Yeah. Okay, that makes sense. You don't even care that you've gained a little bit of life because you're in a little bit of a pickle now. You have to block something. And they attack, and I'm like, that is not, that can, oh, they attack me to make my trolls smaller. But I have the Arch to bring them back. Like, I'm getting 3 every time I get, I don't understand it, but there we go. And now I play enough to put, and I play the Ibrahim because it's a flyer and it's big, and then, yeah. I don't agree with, like, that, I don't agree with that. Maybe they really were hoping to drop, but, like, I really don't agree with that attack of theirs. You know, maybe they're thinking that, you know, long run, that's the thing that can grow and be big enough to block my trolls. But, so this is a very questionable keep. I am wondering how I win this game. I have the Bury in the books, but, like, now I have such a hard decision of, like, do I do this so I can Bury in the books, or do I Quandrix so I can definitely play, like, a Professor or something next turn? Luckily, I draw, I'm a Luxac McGee. I draw my force anyways. They tap my thing. The Pugilist is pugiling me down. Now I have a blocker for it. I want to kill this Pugilist before it becomes a problem, but also this flyer is a little bit of a problem. So now I'm like, what do I do? I can get a creature, but it's like, so it was a mistake of me to play my land before adventuring, because I could have grabbed the Quandrix. Even though I ended up playing using all my greens, so I guess it's a moot point. So I have to block. I can't keep taking flying damage. Luckily, I draw a Bury in the books for this Pugilist when it gets, you know, pugilating. And hey, here's a Titan. How do you feel about that, opponent? They play some 4/4s, and now I'm like, bro, this is a problem. I'm saving the Bury books for the Pugilist if I need it. I should play this land. Yep. Now, I'm like, oh, yeah, I attack with a Daemogoth, and then I'm going to sacrifice this Pest. 100%, yeah, and then I gain extra life. And now they're going to trade. They can remove an instant response. But they will go down to 1 if they don't block. And then, yeah, they chump. Great. So I've officially traded a Pest for a 4/4 token. Love that trade for me. They even 8/8, and I'm like, oh, no. But honestly, like, bye-bye, and I get 2 lands. Yeah, and they just concede at that point. Sorry, opponent. Okay. And we're playing. This is a fine hand. I'm gonna Quandrix on one, opt to. Oh, I get something to play. So I play the Overgrown Arch. We're just playing early things, and I'm like, do I Arch or do I try to play Honor Troll and bury? I'm thinking some Symmetrous on turn 2 are more important than having a 3-drop. So I opt to be able to play that, and I'm like, I'm gonna draw enough lands in a long game that I don't want to keep any lands on the top. So here we go. I have a blocker for your flyers. Don't really even care that much if you kill my Symmetrist. The golden ratio for 2, which is like, okay, that's a divination. I don't care. They're way broken, way more broken golden ratios out there. Cool. I get to gain life. I'm just chilling. I have 2 trolls, so I'm gonna Symmetrist next turn because I can play 2 3-drops next turn, and these trolls are gonna gain me so much life with this Overgrown Arch. So same thing of running it back. Of I have a Symmetrist to hold the board at bay. You have a Needle Drake, but I'm like, I don't even care that much. I can either bury in the books and go for the attack, or I can double troll. And I think because I'll be able to attack with even more 4/4s on a subsequent turn. No. You need to play. If I'm going to attack with a Symmetrist, I need to attack first. Then I have bury in the books back up. I don't know how I feel about. Oh, I guess my plan this turn is to bury in the books their Drake and just attack with 16 power. Golden ratio while the trolls are still small. Golden ratio while the trolls are still... Now this is a golden ratio. They counterspell it. I'm like, whatever. Better that than my bury in the books. And now that they're more tapped out, there's less things that they can play. So I do this in response. It lets them see that they're 4/4s, but it also ensures they would not have trample if I had done that after the fact. So here we go. This is basically 15 trample damage coming through. I won't have trample after this, but you're now at 6, and I have a spell and a bunch of creatures that have you dominated. So I have a 7/7. I don't care too much because it's going to go bye-bye. And now they have to chump block with something. Yep. There goes Fractal. And I play the Dean just because, like, hey, let's play the Dean. Let's get more attackers in play. I have 3 lethal attackers. Yeah, this is a bad sign for them. Because, yes, they might draw a blocker, but they've tapped out a blocker. So, net, they have not improved their position. 2 more games to go. What I like about this deck has life, so it's a little slow, but it has life gain to make up for that against the aggressive decks. The wall and the trolls really help with that. It has good card draw with the golden ratio, so it can attrition very well. It has a little bit of removal with the bury in the books for giant fractal tokens, or just to get rid of things like the pugilist for a while and give me a window to attack. And has good aggressive creatures. So that's what I think is the winning recipe here. I don't have any green, but I do have like just gonna see. I'd probably be burying the books for a while. They hunt for the specimen. I'm not too worried. I just need this game to last longer. So they play Academic Probation, which is basically like you can't play a spell or you can't block with something. I'm just trying to slow my opponent down. I don't care. I'm just trying to slow you down, speed myself up, slow you down. I'm gonna take a little bit of damage this turn. Ouch. So here I'm like, well, what do I do? What do I do? And I just go for the, you know what? I'm just going to hopefully be able to bury in books this Pledge Mage, send you back a little bit more. Great. And now I'm sort of in a commanding position in that I can gain a lot of my life back now. I have big things. Don't even care too much about that. I know it's in your hand, so like... So I can't block with that because they use their thing. But now, I'm gaining 2 life a turn. I have ways to get card advantage. My creatures are big enough where I can sit here. I now have a blocker for their Pledge Mage. I'm in an okay position. Oh, that 2/4 is not helping them at all. I'm playing lands because I need them for the Dean. I might get too many lands with the Quandrix Apprentice, and so I don't. I'm just trying to throw all my lands in play instead of keeping them in my hand. Here they attack with this. I'm like, that is very suspicious. But yeah, I'll block. And then they Deadly Brew, and I'm like, okay, that makes sense. So I have a decision to make. I get rid of the apprentice because like the overgrown arch is currently holding things back and it's in this life gain combo. And if I can make my troll big, luckily I draw another Drake to keep things at bay. Golden ratio, draw 4 cards. Like, you know, what luckily, I mistapped. I should have known about the Daemogoth, and I should have tapped 1 more blue for the golden ratio. Then I could have played this Quandrix Campus this turn instead of playing, having to play a forest so that I could play the Daemogoth. So here's the problem. They could have removal, and if I block with a Daemogoth and then they remove it in response, this is about to be exactly what happens, actually. So I'm like, okay, yeah, what do you have, opponent? You have something that, yeah, I'll block with this, and I'll even get rid of my Drake. So I'm not going to get rid of my combo cards. And then, of course, they do have the removal, and I am immediately punished for being a Doom. And now I'm like, well, my opponent, how lucky that they, just salting off in my own mind. They don't attack here, though, which I don't necessarily agree with. Now I'm scrying. I get the Dean, and I'm thinking, if I can get a bunch of fractals, that's a way I can win this game. So I'm just chilling, hoping to fractal rocket out. Attack me for 2. I'm like, yep, you got it. I gain 2 a turn, so I don't really care. Get rid of my good cards, but now I'm making 2 fractals a turn. Like, even if they're still just 1/1s, I'm doing something every turn and advancing my board, and my opponent is currently not. So they play Valentine, and I'm like, uh-oh. But most of the things I'm hoping to chump block with are tokens, so like you don't get the Valentine pests with that. So make something bigger. I don't care. Even if you make a 7/7, I can just like fractal block it and then keep the other fractal. So I do that. Now I have 2 different cost spells. So my fractals are now 2/2s, and I have a snakeskin backup to make sure that my Dean lives. They're attacking with a 7/7, and I'm like, you know what? Boink. Let's do this. I could double block with a Symmetress and the Troll. And because I have the snakes. Oh, I see. I just go Troll and then the 2. Oh, yeah, no. I'm like, okay, let's really make sure. So I'm worried about the spell that gives something Death Touch and brings it back. Luckily, they don't have that. It would have been very poop. And I'm chilling. I'm making 2/2s a turn. Yeah, and then, once again, I'm set up for the long game. They're kind of not now. I can draw. Oh, I can only draw. I draw 3 cards with Golden Razor. So I'm looking. I have 7 cards left in my library. So I'm like, this is very relevant. My library is very relevant. So even getting rid of 1 more card with the Dean to try to make these fractals bigger can potentially make it so I can't attack for lethal. The same reason I don't Adventurous Impulse. I'm not scrying because scrying means I cost 5 mana, basically, the 4 and the 1 tapping the land to scry for it. And I just want to make as many fractal. I'm planning to fractal, and then hopefully on like my last 1 or last 2 turns, go wide and go for the win. That's my only plan right now. Because the status quo of our libraries means I lose. Luckily, my opponent is basically, I'm assuming some of the cards in their hand are lands. So here we go. I'm like, oh, what do we do? I know that I have a golden ratio coming up. Like, what do we do? We wait. Make more fractals. Now I have a land on the bottom. I'm like, oh, I'm running out of cards in my library. Do I just go for? I have plenty of life. I can survive a backswing, like a swing on their side. So I'm like, what do I want to do? What do I want to get back? I'll bounce your thing, and I'll get my 5/5, and I will fail to find with my apprentice, and I just remove your thing so I can swing with as many things as possible. Maybe I should have gotten rid of their Valentine, because their Valentine both gains life and makes creatures when we trade. In retrospect, I should have gotten rid of their Valentine. Yeah. No. I guess because my things have trampled, I just got rid of the 4/4 because it's the biggest thing that they had, and I'm like, I'm gonna deal so much trample damage. Yeah, no, I agree with getting rid of their biggest thing. So there we go. Now I'm, basically 1 game away from locking down the 7th win, and I'm thinking like, oh, Don't curse yourself, William, because sometimes, like, you know, you make it to the 6-in-1 slot and then you scrub out. Here, great. I have, you know, options of first turn, second turn, and third turn things to do. Here, I'm like, I will draw enough lands, especially with this emergent sequence. I do the sequence so I can hopefully get for this Pledge Mage faster. I'm hoping that they don't destroy my land. They don't so far. Attack. I'm good. I'm good to go. Next turn I can either... there's a lot of things I could do, but yeah, I get to play my 5/5, and now I can play a 1/1 and then draw 3 cards. So they get rid of my 5/5. Now I'm like, I want to draw a decent amount of this golden ratio, so I play, once again, another big thing. They play something, and now I'm just like, hey, let's golden ratio this up. Let's draw some spells. I don't mind trading now that the golden ratio is gone. I have another golden ratio, and I'm like, I can play that after the professor if I need to. So they study break. I'm like, that's fine. Let's opt. Ooh, get a snake skin. Boop. Now I can play the professor and then potentially draw even more cards because I have a 5 and a 4. So my golden ratio now draws 4 cards. Absolutely broken. Now this is a bad news bears. They're 2/5. I really can't let that sit around too long. Why do I attack? What? No, I don't have a golden ratio. It's Eureka. Okay. So I'm just playing things now, planning to bury this thing in the books after a while. Yes, they have a removal spell. Maybe I should have buried in the books just so I get rid of that removal spell. We're thinking. Now I can apprentice and then bury, and then like Dean and then like bury. Maybe I need a Dean and bury so I can start the Dean tokens. Oh, I just start the Dean, and I'm like, okay, if you want to attack, that's fine. I have this bury in the books that I can use. If you try, yeah. So I'm like, oh, you're trying to get clever here? Sure, let's do this. And I want to do it in response to some sort of combat trick. So I'm like, okay, let's do this. I'm gonna go all in on against your 2/4. What kind of weird combat trick do you have? And they have Urza's Rage, and I'm like, oh yeah, for sure, do it. Let's get rid of this thing. No problem here. I want to use all my mana, so that's why I don't go for the tap land. I go for the untapped land, although I have plenty. The Daemogoth is a little bit like, bro, well, I could have used that, but now I can make fractal tokens, and now I'm just like, sure, let's attack. Now I can make a fractal and bury in the books. Not only that, but I have this honor troll. And they are at risk of dying on the crackback, so that is something worth noting. Now, great, I have both of your 4/3s dead if you don't do anything. I know 2 of the spells in your hands are sorceries. So you go, ooh, I'm gonna try to get a trample, and I'm like, no, you're not, mister. And now I can pretty much just like I could almost attack and just like win, but now I'm like let's attack, and I will plan to win next turn. I'm a little afraid of what they might do as far as like, ooh, if they have another give it trampoline and +3/+1, and they have the +2/+2 thing in their hand, they could have killed me in the air if I attacked with this Drake. So that's why I left the Drake back, specifically to block this 2/1. Now I'm making 2 fractals, and now you are pretty pooped. And then I can attack with everything, see what you do, and make 2 fractals in response. Yeah. That's what I do. And because they needed to respond or else they were gonna die, I didn't do anything with the fractals until I was sure that I won. So there we go. Hey, look at that. 7-1, playing some blue-green just like Value Town, big creatures and draw spells. So thank you so much. If you liked this video, please actually like it on YouTube. It helps me a lot. It inspires me and helps the video see other people. Leave a nice comment. That's cool. I like to read nice comments, and I will respond to them. And finally, if you really like this video, please subscribe to the channel. It helps me the most and keeps me going. And check out other videos that should be popping up right up here right now. I've done a whole bunch of other Strixhaven drafts. I do, vintage, Kaldheim, and just other games as well. So check it all out. And thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. Bye-bye.